Welcome back to another episode of Intimate Conversations. I am your host, Sonia B. And let me tell you, we have a very special guest here today, Coach Ken. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing well. I am so glad you came. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad you asked me to come. I'm not so sure you're going to ask me back, but I'm glad you asked me to come.
Okay, we're going to see how it goes.
All right.
You good. So introduce yourself. And for the people that don't know or that's new to tuning in, tell them a little bit about what you do, your background.
Okay. I'm Coach Ken Canyon. I am a personal development and relationship coach. I help couples and singles navigate the complexities of modern day relationships so that they can live a life of abundance. I've been coaching for 14 years. Long story short, how I got into this, I've been married 21 years.
Nice.
6 years into my marriage, we couldn't stand each other. She couldn't stand me and I couldn't stand her. And I remember we were just arguing. We couldn't communicate. And I remember one day it was like we were just going at it. It was terrible. Like I always tell people, I've never put my hands on my wife, but the words that I said were probably as bad. But on this particular day, and her too now, shit.
It wasn't one-sided. She threw it back at you.
And so this particular day we were arguing and she said, let's go for a ride. And I'll never forget it because I was like, I don't want to go for a ride with you. However, I just agreed. I went for the ride. And you know how when you ride and you mad at somebody, they looking out their window, you looking out your window. And
nobody's saying nothing to each other.
Right. And so we were driving down the street and she said, we weren't talking. She said, I'm hungry. Now, I was hungry too, but I didn't want to agree with her at the time. But I had just gotten off a reality show and I didn't have a $7 because to be on that reality show, I turned away business. I'm speaking a lot, but I got on the show to get my health back. It was called The Biggest Loser.
Okay.
And I was like, I only have $7. She said, pull into this Wendy's. Now, I wasn't even eating fast food at the time. I wasn't. I had just lost 160 pounds, but I pulled in and I said, I only have $7. Just so happens that they had a special. It was like 2 bacon cheeseburgers or something for $2.99 a piece. I remember this.
Oh, like it was yesterday.
Like it was yesterday. I tell this story. And when I pulled through the drive-thru, I had $7. I only had $7, just enough to get both of them. I did a video called How $7 Saved My Marriage. And then I pulled through and she said, would you pull in a parking space? And I was like, for what? She was like, I just want to figure out what's wrong with us. So I pulled in begrudgingly and she looked at me. She turned to me and said, I didn't get married to get divorced. I want to figure out what's wrong with us. And so we stayed there 2 hours and 42 minutes. In those 2 hours and 42 minutes, we came up with a conflict resolution system that saved our marriage. And I learned more about her in that time than I ever knew because we never really communicated. And that's when I realized how most people are poor communicators. So that formula, that simple formula, I've helped to save lots of other relationships.
That's amazing. So in 2.5 hours, you learned more than you learned over the past 6 years.
2 hours and 42 minutes. And you know why? Because she's the kind of person who suppresses stuff. When she gets angry, she just get quiet. I'm the kind of person, I want to talk it out. I want to keep talking. Let's get to the end of it. I want to end this. I want to end it right now.
So what's the middle ground to that? Because you got one person that's like, I want to sit back, process it, give me some time. And what about you? And you like, no, I want to talk about it right now. What's the conflict resolution to that when you have two people like that?
Great question. The conflict resolution is I'm going to give you your time and then you'll work towards my resolution. So what we do is we say, all right, is 3 hours a day? Can we revisit it tomorrow? But we don't leave it open.
Okay, I love that. So my thing is I say whoever leaves the conversation and says, hey, I'm feeling overly stimulated or whatever the case may be, that's the person that has to come back and initiate the conversation.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm hesitant about that, Because if they're overstimulated, then that many times they don't want to revisit the thing that overstimulated them. And so that is when you put parameters in place as a couple, and this is what I teach couples.
Okay.
You put parameters in place where nobody is completely comfortable. Okay? Because I have to step outside my comfort zone to resolve something. Okay?
Yeah.
Especially if you have two people who communicate, who are polar opposite when it comes to communication.
Right. Or else you end up in a situation where y'all might not revisit the topic for 2 weeks.
Or
Ever.
And what happens when you don't ever revisit it?
I mean, it's just bottled up, and then eventually it's going to come to a head, but it's just suppressed, and it's just boiling and boiling, and
Boiling and boiling.
when it comes to a head and
Exactly.
it erupts, it's going to be it's detrimental. It's horrible. Yeah.
Exactly. And so one of the things I tell people is disagreements are inevitable.
Of course.
Arguments are optional. You don't have to argue. My wife and I don't argue now. Now, we disagree about stuff.
Of course.
Think about it. I'm loud. She's quiet. I mean, I'm aggressive. She's not as aggressive. But we don't argue. We disagree, but we don't argue.
Okay. All right. So we got to go ahead and jump right into this. We have a lot to unpack, Coach. So
Well, I'm going to take a drink of water.
okay. The ladies.
Okay.
I heard you talk about this before. No commitment, no sex. Let's get into it. When there's no commitment.
I didn't say no commitment, no sex. What I said was,
Okay.
let me clarify. What I said was you should withhold sex, because you should withhold sex until you collect enough data to know if you should connect with the person. Because see, what I developed a dating formula that has helped so many people get in great relationships. It's called the 2C methodology. So it's called collect, then connect. Collect, then connect. Because what happens is most people run toward the connection phase. And what they rely on is how they feel. We connected.
Oh, we got great chemistry.
He made me feel good. He texted me every morning. He's love bombing me. And what you're doing is you bypass the collection phase and you jump straight to the connection phase. And then what happens is 3, 4, 6 months into it, the person is a little different than you thought. Well, that person didn't change. You just didn't collect enough data.
Yeah, they were always that person. You just we were in that honeymoon phase, and the sex was good, and then you just overlooked everything that was already there in the beginning. Absolutely. So with sex, I am not an advocate. No, you're good. I am not an advocate for wait until you marry. Like, let's be for real. But I am an advocate for.
You want to test that thing out. You want to make sure that thing work. You know.
I mean, are you gonna buy the car without test driving it?
No, I didn't say you should. I didn't say, but I'm just looking at you. I was just like, look at her, y'all. She blushing. Okay.
I think that you should test drive.
Okay.
Absolutely. At some point. But for
but only after. See, listen. Let me just say.
Yes, go ahead.
Here's the problem. What sex does. Okay, I don't want to get too technical for the audience, but I got to do what I do.
You go ahead.
And so what happens is there are two parts of our brain. There's the limbic part of our brain. The limbic part of your brain is where your emotional senses are, emotional neurons. That's where you feel. That's where you make most of your decisions, right? But then you have the neocortex, which is here. The frontal lobe is what they call it. It is where you make your analytical thoughts, okay? This is where 1 + 1, it understands language. It understands mathematics. Problem is, the logical side, the limbic part of your brain does not understand language. It does not operate that way. And what happens is, when you introduce sex, then you ever notice how you start doing shit? You start doing that ain't even logical. You start keying up his car. You start stepping over the house. You start looking through the window. You start doing all of that because you bypassed everything here. And what the collection of data does, it engages the neocortex so that you can make a conscious decision. When you add sex into it, there is a release of hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin that makes you feel like you're in love.
All the feel-good drugs.
And the problem is it's an illusion.
It's smoke in the mirrors. Yeah.
That's why.
I'd have to agree with that. We definitely need to just hold off a little bit especially in that vetting process, or you like to call it collecting data. I absolutely agree. It clouds your judgment. And at a certain age, can I just throw this in there?
Throw it in there.
If we're not 21 or in our 20s, at this big age, at a certain age, we shouldn't be out here digmatized. Like,
Well, you still getting dickmatized. Man. You still out this joint looking like this. You still get dickmatized now.
not enough to just be, and then you end up in these relationships. Like, how do I keep ending up with the same type of person or
'Cause you got
these terrible? Yeah.
Right.
So at this big age,
So your one goal in the relationship. I'm not getting dickmatized this time.
yeah,
So what is the safest way not to get dickmatized?
not have sex.
Boom.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait and see if he's a good fit for us.
There you-
Absolutely. But let me tell you this. So I believe that a lot of women believe that their power lies between their legs. Yeah.
That's what my wife said.
And your wife is right.
This
Your
is
greatest
my every
power-
woman is sitting on $1 million. I was like, well, why they give that ass up for like $1 or $2 though?
Look here, coach.
I'm just saying, this coach, this is the part of coach. I'm smart, but I'm also real too. I mean, I'm just this. Let me be honest with you. The problem is they don't know the value, and the value. See, let me give you this, and I know you got a whole bunch of questions about me.
No, you.
Let me give you this. The woman has the power before sex. She has all the power.
Of course.
The man has the power after sex.
Because then he's going to determine where the relationship goes from there.
Right.
It ends up being a relationship at all. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Women have forgotten who they are. They have forgotten their power. Your true power does not lie in between your legs.
Absolutely.
It lies in your mind. It's up here.
I agree.
It absolutely. But there's a reason. There is a partial reason why a lot of women feel like that. Trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Programming. No disrespect to anyone, but there are a lot of our mothers, grandmothers, aunts, abuelas. They programmed women that way. You've probably heard the saying in the Black community, don't you come home with no wet ass with no money.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've heard,
Oh,
instead of them,
That's a new, wait.
you never heard that?
No, see, I'm not a woman, so I never heard that. Any dudes I never heard it. Say that one again, though, because I'm gonna
I
ask
have
my wife.
literally heard the generation before me, grandmothers, mothers, aunts, older sisters say, don't you go out there, don't you come home with a wet ass with no money, which is instilling in her that the only power you have is what's in between your legs, and it should be sold at a price. Versus what they should have been instilling is values, self-love. Because once she values herself at a certain point, she's not going to be sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry to begin with.
Absolutely. I
So,
agree with you 100%.
yeah, a lot of it was programming. And I would like for the women to remember who they are and remember their power and try to unlearn those things that was instilled in a lot of women. So, yeah.
That's pretty powerful right there. All right, and so what I would say to you is, I'm gonna use that.
Okay.
Come on with no wet ass money.
Without no money. And when I hear that, I'm like, whoa. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's wild. But,
I think the programming, not only that,
mhm.
I think that's part of what you said. I think there's more programming too. When they used to say that, girl, you got to get you a man, you got to keep yourself up to get a man, or whatever you got to do to get a man. And it was almost like my self-worth was contingent on somebody wanting me
Yes.
to be with me.
Yes.
And so if people didn't want to be with me, then what would happen is it would diminish my self-worth.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of it too. So I think it's a twofold thing. And so we have to be independently worthy of everything we desire. Then you can come into a relationship and be worthy. I'm doing a whole course on self-love right now.
It's so needed.
Oh gosh.
The lack
gotta
of
break that one.
self-love and the lack of self-development will show up in your relationships and the type of people you choose to engage in a relationship with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that course. I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Oh, it's coming out now. It's coming.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's get into it. Going with the flow.
Going with the flow.
Why
Why are you blinking like that? You about to ask me something. She was like this. Okay. I want to cut up, but it's fun. You making it fun.
I explain it to them why we should not be. Hold on. When a man says to a woman, I'm not looking for anything, and her goal and her desire is she wants to be in a committed relationship or she is dating for marriage, but he says, I'm not looking for anything, but we can go with the flow. It, baby.
I did a video on that.
Yes. The only flow I'm going with is I'm going to let him flow right out and out my life.
Okay. So I'm going to answer this two different ways. And it's going to lead me back to the same.
Okay.
Place. All right. The first thing is, here's the mistake people make. It is okay, listen to me, for a man to say, I am not looking for a serious relationship. Let's go with the flow. It is okay.
Okay.
All right. Because that's where he might be. All right.
And that's fine.
However, where the discrepancy comes in is when the woman says, okay, I agree with it. Let's go with the flow. Now, watch this. What I teach my students, I say, what he said is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But here's what you say. Okay, let me set parameters and boundaries on going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
If we go with the flow, we're not going with flow sex.
Hello.
Now, watch this.
My leg's going to be shut.
We can still go with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
but I will continue dating as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we go with the flow with parameters, and now we're on the same page. And now the woman does not feel like, well, you did something to me, you took advantage of me, you told me something. Okay, because once we put parameters, but once he says we could go with the flow, the woman never, most women, not all, because people are saying, he said, most women don't put parameters and boundaries in place based on us going with the flow. Because everybody's got the power to say what they feel, what's true for them. I'm sorry, what's true for them,
Right.
the mic and everything.
No, you're good.
All right. And so that's the thing. And so once you put the parameters in place, see what he says then.
Yeah.
Because we're not having sex.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't smashing.
Right.
You can't get this pussy.
At all.
And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to date too, since if that's what we're doing, and we're trying to find out who we are,
Mm-hmm.
let's find out who we are like that.
A lot of women think they can change him.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to go with the flow. He said he was upfront and honest and said he didn't want a relationship. And in their mind, they're like, but if I give him enough sex, if I do all this, if I overplay my part, if I just show him that I'm all these amazing things, then he will change his mind. A person has to come to the conclusion, anybody has to come to the conclusion of changing on their own. But where we're hustling backwards as women, we think that we can change you all. And it doesn't work like that. We want to, he going to change. I'm going to show him. He going to be ready for a relationship. And then he's like, I told you that in the beginning. Now you're looking salty.
Now you're saucy. So
Right.
let me help you out with something. And some people out there are going to say, yeah, that's bullshit. But no. I've coached thousands of people. I put people in relationships, so it's not bullshit. Now, because you don't understand how it works, a lot of people don't understand how it works, then they say it doesn't work. You don't understand how gravity works, but jump off a 100-foot building.
You see what
Then
happened.
your ass in the afterlife. So let me explain something to you, please. All right. I'll explain this to you. Women think, y'all listen to me closely, if the more I do for him, the more value I have. I'm going to pick up his kids. I'm going to cook more for him. I'm going to give him more sex. Oh, I'm going to give him head in the car. I'm going to do everything he asks me to do. And they think they're more valuable. Here's the way. See, women think that a man commits to you based on what you do for him. A man commits to you based on who you are to him.
Mm.
They don't. So you think if I do more, he'll commit. But that's not the way the mind of a man thinks. He wants, because the mind of a man says, who do I see you as? Who do I view you as? What do I view your brand as?
Mm-hmm.
And do I see you as an empowerer, a nurturer? Do you make me want to be better? That has nothing to do with the stuff you're doing. And most of us get it wrong because they've never been taught. They've never been mentored, they've been coached. They don't understand. So they think the more I do, the more he'll commit to me based on what I do for him. But understand this, a man commits to you based on who you are to him.
Makes, oh, yes. Makes 100% sense. I love
I
that.
think I'll drink on that one.
I absolutely love that. I say focus on yourself. Develop you.
Sure. I-
Focus on yourself.
I agree.
Yeah, it's doing more is overplaying your part. And then he gets with a woman that is obsessed with her own goals, her own
He
purpose,
wants her, don't he?
and he want her.
He want to be with her. He was like, can we be in a relationship? Because what happens is he views her through a different lens.
She has a different value.
Of course.
Absolutely.
That's why he's viewing her through that different lens. Okay? She ain't thirsty. She's not trying to be everything for him. She's trying to grow herself.
Yeah.
And then what he realizes is in the growth of herself, her value is exceedingly abundantly more than it would be if you were just into me.
Yes. Just be. I feel like I would like ladies to understand, if you're the flower, the bees will come to the flower. The flower doesn't chase the bees. And all that chasing the man and doing and overplaying your part. And sis, be obsessed with you and your purpose and developing you. The bees will come to the flower. All you have to do is be.
I agree.
That's my take.
So I know we haven't talked about this, but I was teaching a group of my clients, and I was like, masculine energy and feminine energy. Masculine energy, we all both have masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, there has to be duality.
Duality. However, but most of them don't understand what the difference is.
Mhm.
So I break it down into two sentences. I said, masculine energy is the energy of doing. Feminine energy is the energy of being.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just being me, I'm just going out and going with the flow, being creative, walking into who I am. That's
Yes.
feminine energy.
Yes.
All right. Masculine energy is doing, deadlines, get the bag. I gotta get that new ride. I gotta get this new house. I gotta this deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, but we have to be able to balance it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
With your 2C method, and I know you teach this, give me your top 3 questions women should be asking while dating, 3 or 5, and what men should be asking while dating.
So that question is going to require me to give you some background.
Okay.
So, and again, I'm here to drop gems and nuggets.
Yes.
That
Load y'all notebooks.
So here's the thing. There are 2 types of questions.
Okay.
There are what we call conscious questions and what we call subconscious questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, most of our conscious questions, there are 2 parts of your brain. I study the mind.
Yes.
Okay. So your conscious is your active thoughts, your goals, what I think about, I got to drive home, your conscious thoughts, right? What I look like today.
Right.
But your subconscious thoughts or your subconscious mind think of it like a program. Think of it like a computer where all of your program, where your experiences or your thoughts, your beliefs, everything you believe about the world is in your subconscious mind. Problem is we never get to know people. You know why? Because we always ask conscious questions. Like, where do you work?
Right. That's something you can just think of off the top of
You
your
don't
head.
have to think about it.
Right. It's a no-brainer.
And so most people don't understand that. And so you think you asking the person something, what kind of car you got, what do you want to do, you want to get a new job, all those are conscious questions. So I teach my people, I say, okay, let me show you how to ask subconscious questions because the true nature of the person resides there. So let me give you an example. You ask the questions. So one of the questions, I got a list of them in my ebook. Just ask 50 questions to know if he's the
Oh, I like that.
All right, I started with 50. Now we're up to 300. 300 subconscious questions. For instance, one might be, tell me 2 things that you learned from your last relationship that you've taken with you now.
Yeah, that's going to require me to,
Okay.
I'm thinking now.
You see how you did?
I'm
See
like,
what you just did?
great question. And then I feel like I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Another subconscious question. If you had to give one piece of advice to your former self, you at 10 years old, all right, what piece of advice would you give them and why?
Oh.
Do you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
What I'm doing is finding out who the person is.
Mhm.
I'm finding out who the person is in your subconscious, because that's where the true
Yeah.
person relies.
Absolutely. Okay, so if I wanted to ask a man
Okay.
and really try to find out at his core if he's a provider, what would you tell the women to ask?
Ask him this. Ask him this. What is if you had to rank,
Mhm.
no, I would do it this way. He's a provider. If you lost your job
Okay.
today, how would you build it back?
Mm.
How would you build it back? If you lost everything today, that tells you something about who he is financially. Okay. There are a million questions I could ask financially.
Mm.
All right. When it comes to family, give me the top 2 traits that a man must have and what he must do for his family.
I like that. I like that.
You see? So what you're doing is you're making him go into his subconscious and tackle his belief system.
At the same time. Ooh.
Right.
Because I'm certain that being a provider is more of a mentality and less of the money you make. But there is some misconception that, oh, he can't be a provider if he's not making 6 figures. If he's a provider, he can provide at making $40,000 or $400,000 a year. Now, will it look a little different? Absolutely. But
it may not look a little different if he make $120,000, but he $140,000 in debt.
that part,
That
absolutely.
So is he a provider?
Great point.
So what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that is why people get it twisted, because what they're focused on is a number. I'm
Yes.
focused on a mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching my people, focus on the mentality. The numbers will take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
You get 2 people who are, I don't give a damn if he's making $40,000 a year, but he wants to make $1 million, and you get with a woman that wants to make $1 million and she making 30. I want them 2 instead of people making 300,000. Because you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna work. They're gonna save.
They got that fight in them.
They got that fight.
They got that dog in them.
There's 2 of them, two dogs, 2 pit bulls.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's how
got
me
so
and my wife have built the business that we had. I mean, she's not like me, but anything she wants, she can get, right?
I love it.
But there was a time when I had $7.
And she was like, let's go on to the Wendy's.
When we finally got it,
Oh, right.
we finally got on track. We finally got on track. But I've always been that person. We've always been partners in working through stuff. It's just we couldn't communicate that good.
Yeah.
Now we communicate well, and we still grinding. We still like grinding.
The grind never stops. I think you said that. I think people think they get to a certain place, but I definitely just had to touch that topic of what to ask about the providers, because I hear so many people focused on the dollar amount, and you're seeing that right now play out publicly. Because baby, is Gabrielle Union okay? Because why is she going 50-50?
I put up a video the other day that people got mad. It had 100,000 views in 2 days.
Oh my goodness!
In 2 days.
What was it about?
I said this, and I stand by every word. I said that what happens to, and I said it based on my clients, what happens is when a woman is between 20, 35, maybe even 40, she's worried about financial security. Her first thing is financial security. And I said, but when a woman gets over 40, what happens is she is more focused on emotional and mental security than the financial security, because she got her own bag.
Yes.
She got her own, and people's like, oh, hell no, I'm still working. I still want my money. I never said he could be broke. I said was that money is not the focal point.
Right.
It is not he could make less money. I got plenty of clients that say he can make less money if that man wants to love me, protect me, wants to provide security for me. He can make less money because what I want is, I realize at 45, emotional and mental security, peace, those kinds of things are what mattered the most.
Priceless.
So people were like, hey, what up, bro? You know I like it, though. I like all that. So I'm like,
It was controversial, huh? They was like, what, coach? No. The money, yeah. So when somebody is younger and those financial things, even if you're older and you're just in a bad financial situation,
right.
money's going to be the top thing that you're looking for.
Well, if you're best,
yeah.
Sure, I get it. I get it. And like I told one lady, I said, maybe you're not financially in the income bracket that these other ladies I'm talking about are. And I said, so maybe you're just trying to pay your light bill. I get that.
Right.
I get that. But I based it on the people, that I coach. You know, what they said.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think everybody was in an uproar when this particular young lady, I'm sure you heard it, said, oh, I wouldn't date the bus driver unless he owned it. Equally yoked. When you get somebody, does this happen, Coach? Because you've got way more experience than me. You get a woman that makes more than the man. Can it cause resentment and an issue? I mean, because this is a real life topic. If she makes $100,000 more than him, is there going to be an issue at some point? Or like this particular young lady said, if he's the owner, the bus driver may not be conducive for her lifestyle. She can get up and be like, I had a rough week. I'm going to go ahead and go to Dubai this weekend. He got to put in his PTO. Do you believe that as far as finances, you have to be somewhat equally yoked? We should be dating in our tax bracket? I'm just curious.
I think what we as a society have, I think you have to decide what is important to you. You know, I go back to those ladies. What's important to them is a man that's going to love their dirty bathwater. He might love his job driving a bus. He gonna protect her. He's going to mentally stimulate her. He's going to knock her socks off and make her quiver when he hit that thing. And then, but she says everything, because everything is not about finance. Let me say this.
Okay.
Is you can have money. Why is that a lot of people have money, but they got the big house, the big cars, they got all that, and the shit doesn't last?
The foundation.
Because the foundation, money will never make you happy. It won't. Money is a satisfier. And you get satisfied till you get more money. But why is it that people got money jumping off bridges?
Yeah.
Because money doesn't motivate. Listen, true happiness comes from the inside.
Comes from within. The money is just a necessary tool. It's fluff. When you go to Starbucks and you get your latte, we like the foam on top. But if they gave you a cup of foam, it wouldn't be the same.
So let me ask you this. What if you went by yourself and you can buy foam, you can buy everything you want, latte, go get you a Louis bag and all that. But now you with a man that you love, that y'all building something that you love. He doesn't make that much money. Maybe you can't get the phone. But you know what? But he come and open your door. But he take you to the park and y'all hang out, y'all walk holding hands. All right? And see now what I'm getting you to do is look at your paradigm a little bit differently. We are in a society, and I'm truly about getting that bag. I'm truly about growing financially. Yes. My wife and I do it together. But you know what she told me the other day when we were talking about? I'm on this TV show that's going to air soon.
Okay.
I did 20 episodes. Huge network, going to air in July. And what she told me was, I said, honey, if they asked me to come back, I probably would come back, but I might not. But I said, if all I want is us and our family, I don't care about money. See, and part of it is we live and we have an illusion, and we think that the only reason we think money is going to make us happy, the bigger house going to make us happy, the more money. Now, granted, it does offer security when
nice, right?
But would you rather live in a 10,000 square? Okay, I won't go that big. 6,000 square foot house with tons of money and no happiness, or a 2,000 square foot house with, moderate living, but you happy?
I'm gonna take the happiness. I like my happiness and
there you go.
All day, every day.
I'm just saying. And I'm not saying be broke and struggle. What do they call it? Struggle
love.
I'm not even talking about it.
We are not doing that.
And finances mean something.
It does.
But we have put an inordinate amount of weight on just finances.
The money alone. Okay, so that takes me to my next point. There's a lot of misconception. High value versus high earner. There is a significant difference between a high-valued individual and a high earner. And I think that a lot of people just assume because you make a certain dollar amount, he's automatically or she's automatically a high-valued person. And that is so not the case.
So not the case.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, if he's a high-valued man, there's a laundry list of things I look at. Is he a pillar in the community? Do other men look up to him? Does he stand on his word? When he says something, does he follow through with it? There's so many layers to it versus just he makes this amount. Now all of a sudden he's a high valued man. So
But that's the society we live in. We attach labels to stuff when we really don't know what they mean. We attach labels to something where, for instance, if he makes $300,000-$400,000 a year, he's a high value man. No, he's not. He may not have a high value character. He's a high earner.
yes.
But he's not a high value. High value man. You said it. I can just reiterate what you said. A man who keeps his word. A man who's high character. A man who he ain't out here fucking everybody.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about that. A man who says, if I tell you something, I'm going to live by that. And if I can't get it done, I'm going to tell you. A man who's not afraid to admit that he's wrong. A man who's willing to take accountability even when it ain't mine.
Yes.
That's a high value.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree.
And a high value woman too.
Mhm.
Just so be clear.
Just to be clear, it goes both ways. It's not a one-sided thing. Why do you think, when you're coaching couples, why do you think the divorce rate is where it's at? Why do you think the marriages are failing so?
I think number one, they didn't collect enough data. That's number one. And I think another reason is they say every 7 years we evolve.
Yes.
We fundamentally become a new person. Some good, some bad, whatever. All right. But I think what happens is as we evolve, we don't stay connected. And so what happens is the evolution sometimes disconnects us. And so when we begin evolving, and so what happened is as my wife and I were evolving, we stayed connected. What are you feeling like this? What do you think about this? I mean, and we don't always agree.
Right.
But we always talk. Communication now is a big thing.
Yes.
I had to tell somebody the other day who works for me that I no longer needed her services because she was super smart. It's just that we were fundamentally not in alignment. She was going this way with her business. My business was going that way. And I had to have a conversation. And I told her, I said, I'm a relationship coach who believes in communication. I said, this is an uncomfortable conversation.
Right.
Couples aren't willing to have uncomfortable conversation. Are you?
You have to.
Okay, so if that thing don't stay up, if this thing don't stay up, you gonna have that. How you gonna say it? I want to see how you gonna say it. If it thing, if it don't stay up.
Hey, that's a great question, Coach. Let me jump into that. Number one, I was a nurse for 14 years, majored in nursing, minored in psychology.
Okay.
Majored
in nursing, minored in psychology.
Okay, so number one, I need to address what's going on here. Is there a health concern? Because I'm former retired nurse. So is there a health concern that we can address first? I'm not just going to come at him and be like, so why is that thing soft? Like, what is going on? Because this ain't going to work for me. Like, I'm not going to kill his ego and be like, we need to address.
Sometimes that look can kill it though.
Oh.
Looking like this. This what we doing?
I'm going to see if there's an issue first, and we're going to take it from there. And if there is no health concern,
okay,
then we got some other issues to
Well,
discuss, and I'm going to tell him.
I want to know, because communicating the topic, see, I'm putting on the spot, y'all. How would you say it to him? See, I teach communication because it's not the easy stuff. It is the hard stuff. So how you gonna say it?
Number one, I'm not going to say it while we're in the bedroom naked. Let's start there.
Let's start.
Okay.
Let's start there.
It might be over dinner.
How you gonna say it?
Baby.
Okay.
I just want to know.
Look at me.
Look at me. I just want to know what's going on.
What you mean?
Am I not turning you on? Do you have a lot on your mind? Is there a lot on your plate? Because you know what? I just noticed that, during our amazing lovemaking, which I absolutely love, I'm noticing that it's not really lasting. It seems like something's on your mind, like the erection is leaving. What's up? What's going on? You can talk to me. Like, what do you want me to say, Coach? I don't want to, because I want to be really sensitive about crushing his ego. Like,
no.
He should open up and talk and tell me what's going on.
So a man's sexual prowess is tied to his manhood, his ego, because that's who we are. So many of us, it's a touchy subject to begin with. It's like a woman who maybe lost her breast from breast cancer or something.
Right.
So she feels like maybe I'm less than a woman. So it's all about how you approach it, right? So the way I teach my people to approach
Okay.
anything is outcome based. We always focus on the problem, but
Yeah.
outcome based. The truth is, baby, you know what? I want us to be good. I want us to be better. I want us to have great love making sessions. I want to always be the person for you. And I hope I'm doing that for you. Notice what I just did.
Mm.
When I approach that, the person I'm talking to says, number one, I'm on your side. We're winning.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get no matter what it is. And I always say, look them in the eye. You hold their hand, and because a lot of us don't want to be like, they think it's hard.
That thing ain't thinking no more. What's going on? The thing ain't thinking no more. Sir. What's going on?
The thing ain't thinking. So
I don't want to be that person, Coach. But we need to figure out something, cause
yeah, but I go through this whole process where I teach my people how to actually communicate. There, and I did a course, and I did a 5-day. The name of the course is What She Said, What He Heard.
ooh,
The Art of Communicating with a Man. And when I did it because so many people don't know how to communicate, especially ladies that don't know how to communicate with men, and likewise. But a lot of my clients aren't women, so I'm like, even in dating, it's the way you're communicating. And a lot of men have never. And the truth is, men have been conditioned not to communicate.
because they have been programmed to not be in touch with their feelings,
Yes.
which started from little children.
Little children.
The boy falls on the ground. Get up. Don't
Suck
cry.
it up.
You suck it up. You're a boy. You're a man. And so now they're detached from their feelings, and not because they want to be, but because they were programmed that way.
Absolutely.
And so now it's hard for them to it takes some work. It can be done to kind of tune back in and tap into that. But
And then you don't understand why I didn't communicate. You're right, because they told us, suck it up. Don't be no little bitch. Don't say anything. Don't do all of that. And so the man associates expressing his feelings with weakness.
mm-hmm.
And so the woman has been groomed to share her feelings.
Yeah.
So now you're 30 years old. He doesn't share. So you get in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
She begins sharing her feelings. He doesn't know what to do with that.
Right.
And so now, because he's been conditioned all these years, and so she says, he just don't communicate. He just don't talk. I'm getting frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know what to do. And so when I teach them, let me show you how to communicate with a man that doesn't communicate. And then we create the platform where he wants to.
Mm. Now, what would you tell a man that if the man came to you and said he doesn't know how to communicate?
Then I would teach him how to communicate. And then what we first have to do is reprogram his subconscious that it's okay
Yes.
to communicate. You can't just start with what to say.
I want you to say it like this.
No, you
Do
can't
it
start
like
there.
this.
You have to start with what's the programming, the reason why he's not saying.
Mm-hmm. You got to get to the root cause of the issue.
Sure.
And that was, it might have been embedded in him when he was a child. Okay, so let me ask you this, Coach. You coach couples too, correct?
I do.
You coach the couples come to you and they're not able to communicate their desires to their partner. What we doing? What you telling them?
So, glad.
They can't communicate their sexual desires. They nervous.
Coach, you tell him. You tell him. I ain't came in 3 years. You tell him.
Oh, Lord, not
So-
3 years.
So I have a way to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a great book that I read years ago called His Needs, Her Needs.
Okay.
Okay. And this book I've read 3 times.
Okay.
And the book helped me immensely when we were going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I still use it today. I adapted some things from the book. And so there are 10 basic needs that human beings have.
Okay.
When I say 10 basic emotional needs, okay? Affection, sexual fulfillment, communication, domestic, financial security. There are 5 more, okay?
Okay.
And so what I have the couples to do is to write down of these 10 in order how you see your top, but they only make them do 5.
Mm.
And then I break it down to 3. I said, your top 3. Why? Because those are the 3 that really mean something to you. I make the guy do it. I make the lady do it, right? And then I compare the list. And then I showed them the list. And I said, Tanya, did you know that Gerald is
Right. Gerald, my imaginary husband, y'all.
right, that Gerald's sexual fulfillment is number 2 on this list, but it's number 9 on your list. Did you know that? She's like, he always want to do it. I get tired, I'm working, okay? This is what I get, right? I said, well, I noticed that financial security is number 2 on your list. But what if Gerald said that he don't want to work no more? He get tired. He don't want to go to work. He want to go part-time. And then she was like, well, he can't do that. And then I said, are his needs less important than yours?
Ooh.
She was like, no. And then I say, do you know what a relationship is, especially a marriage? Do you know what it is? I said, a marriage and a committed relationship is really an unwritten contract that we sign. We really don't sign, but we agree in our heart to meet each other's needs. You ever notice when a relationship breaks up, why does it break up? Because the other person ceases to meet your needs.
Yes.
That's why. And so I show them what the needs are. Their top needs. It's not that you can meet every need.
Right.
It's that you're willing to try.
Yeah. And where is it on your priority list?
Where
you have to shift through and it's all the way at number 9, like you said. Where is it on the priority list?
Right. And that's how I get couples to see.
I love that.
I'm the best in the business, y'all.
Y'all better know it.
If you need help.
You better know it. I absolutely love that. So look, when the dang, that just blew my mind. Like it altered my brain chemistry. I'm loving that little list.
Right.
I want to put that into play because then you show it to both parties and now they're like, dang, I didn't even know that. And
then what happens is then you see where their desire is. Because somebody might see the list and be like,
but how are you going to get her to up that and make it in her top 3 if
it doesn't have to ever get to her top 3? It doesn't have to get to her top 3. And that's the part that they don't understand.
She just has to make a conscious effort
to meet his needs.
Got you. Okay. It doesn't have to change her priority.
Right,
I got you. Okay.
I have to get to her top 3. It's just that I got to make a more concerted effort to meet his needs.
That makes sense.
Okay. Because because some people don't, sex ain't all that to them. So it may never get in her top 3. But because it's in your top 3, my wife, she told me the other day, because I got a lot of clients. And my business is growing so fast.
I love that.
She just said to me in a nice way, I laughed because she communicated with me. She was like, "I'd love to spend Saturday evening with you." I knew what the hell that meant. No,
you already knew what time it was, Coach.
I said, absolutely. And we hung out the whole day, not just Saturday evening, that morning, because I knew what she was saying was she didn't have to say it. I said her need of attention because I'm pouring into everybody else. I got clients all the time because I'm building.
Yes.
And I was like, I can't build and lose this. No.
That's number 1. You got to build that and keep that. And the way she did it, so feminine. She didn't come at you with that yada, yada, yada. Look, I better, you better, I need that. The way she did it, you was like, ma'am, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I understand.
Absolutely.
Right then and there. I love that. That is so dope. Like, yeah.
And I got the picture. And when she said it, I knew what it meant. And I was like, okay, I tell you what. And so we hung out because we went to look at houses first because I want to build a house. And then we would look at houses. And I was like, okay, let's go look at this neighborhood. And she was just as happy. We went to lunch and then we went shoe shopping, because
that'll do it for a woman.
Because then we're going to Jamaica in a couple of weeks, so she wanted to get some. Like, I made like how many pair of flip flops? How many pair of flip flops she need? I mean,
but look, I need to circle back to something.
Circle back.
This list. Let's say sex is not a priority for the woman because the man is not providing a certain type of environment, and the environment that I am speaking on is. You get the husband, there could be kids involved. The wife, both work. She comes home, she cooks, the husband comes home, he gets to lay on the couch, kick his feet up, get a cold beer. She cooks the meal, she cleans the kitchen, she puts the kids to bed, she does the homework, bath time, and she's working just like he's working. but he wants more sex. And by the end of the day, she's worked 16 hours opposed to his 8 hours.
So she ain't trying to have no wet ass.
No, she's not. Like, she's physically tired.
Okay.
What do we do in that situation?
So when we do talk about the needs,
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I engage both of them.
Okay.
And I say, what do you think is preventing her from meeting that need for you? Okay. So I start engaging him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if she did that. Then I say, well, then I ask her, what is preventing you from meeting this need
Mm-hmm.
that he has? Assuming that you're aware of it.
Right.
First, you might not be aware.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, I got the kids and I got this and I got this. And so while he's listening, and I said, now tell me what you got again. I got the kids. I'm coming home from work. And I said, so you're tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked him, I said, do you see how she could be tired? And I said, then I say, what could you do to alleviate some of that tiredness
Yes.
so that you can make her have a wet ass?
Mm-hmm. Hello. Because if he came home, did the homework, I don't care if he ordered out the food and then got the kids off the bed, like, no, babe, you go upstairs and, relax for an hour or so.
Right. So what the key here is not telling a person what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
The key is helping them see the relationship through the other person's eyes.
Okay, so they can view it through a different lens.
Yes.
Makes sense. Totally makes
That's
sense.
the key. Because if I come in and tell you, man, you need to start, because I laugh at people who are not professional, who don't know what the fuck they doing. They'll say, well, man, you need to step up, you need to man up, or you need to do this. And I'm like, without ever knowing what's underneath what's in the subconscious.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea, my idea is, let me help you view it from their lens.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, now you have a different vantage point. That different vantage point helps you to see it. Okay, it introduces a new thought.
Yes. It's like creating new neural pathways.
That's exactly.
Yes.
What it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're a nurse.
Yeah.
Nurse. No.
So I understand completely.
Yeah.
That's dope. So then they end up coming to the conclusion on their own versus you need to do this and you need to do this and this is how it's going to work. Yeah. It's way more effective that way.
Right.
I absolutely love that. Let's get into this. I have to ask this.
Why you get sad when you get kind of shifty when
Am
you not sad, but you shifty with some of them questions.
Dang, Coach, you pay a lot of attention, don't you? Well, I couldn't expect anything less, huh?
Those questions. Got you. Okay, I'm ready.
Look, you're going to make me forget what I was about to say.
I'm ready.
Look, you done messed up my whole train of thought, Coach. You done took me to a whole nother level. Like, hey, I need to know why you switched your tone when you said that. Like,
Okay.
you done made me forget what I wanted to say. We're going to have to edit the video. No, I'm just playing. Standards and boundaries. And I saw some of your lives, which, and you had a couple people on there. You had some amazing people on there. And how do you coach the women that are struggling to set their standards and their boundaries before they get in the relationship so that it's not basically formed while they're with the person?
Well, you set your boundaries and standards way before then, because the first thing you will ever do is set your boundaries and standards for yourself
Yes.
before you ever get in a relationship. So what do we have to do? We have to focus on your self-acceptance, your self-love, most of all, your self-concept. And I teach people that the self-concept is a powerful thing. And I'll break it down real quickly. A self-concept is 3 boxes. Imagine you got 3 boxes. The first box is your self-image,
Okay.
the picture that you have when you think about yourself. The second box is the self-esteem. The self-esteem is how you feel about the image. When you think about you, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then, and if the image is bad, then the emotions you're going to attach to it is going to be bad. All right. So when I encounter that, what I teach them is, all right, let's change it. Let's focus on your ideal self. Your ideal self is somebody, who would you like to be?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I begin molding their subconscious based on who they'd like to be, and then we begin changing the picture. Remember the picture?
Yes.
What we do is, once I begin getting you to look at yourself a little differently, the picture changes. Then the self-esteem changes because the emotion I attach to it changes. Then I'm willing to set the boundaries because I believe I'm worth it. All of it goes.
Because what we feel about ourselves is what shows what we project into the world.
Absolutely.
It's the whole aura. It's everything. And so
You smart as I don't know what. You way smarter than most people that interview me.
oh, I will take that compliment. Thank you.
Way smarter.
Yeah, thank you very much, Coach. All right, what other gems you want to give everybody that's listening? Because you be having some gems, and I don't want them to leave without any gems. What about the men? I know like probably 80-90% of like your following and your coaching and stuff is women.
Right. I coach men too.
You do? Okay.
I coach 30 to 40% of my clientele are men.
Really?
See, I want you to understand why though. See, women come to me when they want to gain something. They want to gain a new relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They want to gain a new outlook. They want to gain something.
Mm-hmm.
Men come to me when they don't want to lose something. I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to lose my lady. I don't want to lose my reputation. I fucked up.
I was just about to say, so in other words, they already messed up and now they want to,
Or the relationship is bad.
it's rocky.
Rocky. Not that maybe they didn't mess up. Maybe the relationship is rocky.
Okay.
They don't want to lose it. That's when they come to me. So you got to understand the mindset of those people are different.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's coming to gain something versus the one who doesn't want to lose something.
Right.
Because again, men have been taught not to communicate, but they DM me. They get in my inbox and say, "Hey, bro, here's what's happening. I need your help."
Sending out the SOS. Please help me.
And then it's confidential.
Mm-hmm.
It's confidential. I've helped men save their marriages and their relationships.
That's amazing.
I've helped men get married because they didn't come too late. If you're looking at this, don't come too late.
I know that's right. Wait, you know I'm nosy. Well, not anything in particular, but the ones that are coming for cheating.
Okay.
What you and the wife, the girlfriend, the spouse has found out.
Okay.
What's your advice? How do you fix? Can we move in your years of experience?
Mm-hmm.
Can the marriage or the relationship truly survive cheating? And is it ever really the same?
To answer your question, yes, it can survive cheating, and it will never be the same, but it can be better. See, what happens in the cheating case,
Mm-hmm.
there are 4 kinds of trauma, and I did it in my live last.
Okay.
One of the kinds of trauma is betrayal trauma, and betrayal trauma is one of those traumas that when you believed something was a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody you loved, cared about, betrayed you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I tell the people, it ain't just men, women too.
Mm-hmm.
But what I tell men primarily, because men the ones who get caught out there. All right, women.
You saying women just better cheaters?
They're better at it. They don't get caught out there. I tell him, here's what has to happen. What I'm going to tell you, if you're going to save this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
I told a guy recently, it didn't work for him because he wasn't willing to do what I'm about to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to climb Trust Mountain again. And Trust Mountain, and they say, well, what is Trust Mountain? Trust Mountain, you have to be willing to do everything that you have to do to regain the trust, and you have to be willing to do it. If she need to see your phone every 5 minutes, then you need to show it every 5 minutes. That's part of climbing Trust Mountain. Because what you have done is you destroyed the very concept in her mind of what we were doing.
Right.
Of my whole world has changed. And if you're ever going to, Trust Mountain might be, she's asking you every time what happened. And you have to tell her every time. And you have to be honest.
And it's until she's comfortable again.
Until she's,
Because not, you will get, I'm pretty sure you'll get the,
oh yeah,
look, it's been 3 months. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, I thought it was, she was going to get over it in a month or so. I show some good behavior, good faith, and then I'm ready to be done with this. It's until, I think that's probably key, until she's comfortable
that's what
and
climbing Trust
reassured.
Mountain is.
I love that. Climbing Trust Mountain.
You have to go to her at her pace. And that's why I tell them you have to ask yourself before we do this, is she worth that? Is the relationship worth that?
Yeah, are you willing to put in that work?
Because what you got to do to climb that mountain is like climbing Mount Everest.
With no shoes on and no coat.
Ooh, no shoes. Oh,
You're not even prepared. Like, you got to have the proper gear on to climb that mountain because it's rough.
It's rough.
And the women are, what do you tell the women if you're coaching and it's a married couple, what do you tell the women? Like, what do you...
The ones who were cheating or...
Cheated on.
I asked them, are you willing? And they don't know. Many of them don't even know. Because think about it. Your world, they still love the guy.
Of course. That just doesn't turn off like a light switch.
But can you be in a relationship where you never can trust a person again? That's going to be toxic. But what it does is it's going to destroy her. Every 5 minutes, where is he?
I'm at work, he at home. What is he doing?
Yes,
it's pain and suffering for both parties.
That is emotional trauma.
Mm-hmm. That's rough.
That's right.
So you got to really ask yourself.
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself.
Yeah. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. Coach, okay.
When is this going to air?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Coach.
Please not ask that, because I started to say something, but I probably don't need to say it, because my show probably going to air after this. So I wish I was going to tell you something, but I'm not.
You want to tell me off camera?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay, you tell me off camera.
I'll do that.
Look, for everybody that's new or may not know who you are, Coach, where can they find you on social media? How do they sign up?
Okay, well, I'm on every platform: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm at Coach Ken, KenCanion, at CoachKenCanion.com. You can at Coach Ken Canyon on all the social media platforms, and CoachKenCanion.com. And if you need to book a discovery session, that's a 90-minute deep dive where I can analyze your situation. I can tell you exactly what's going on, what you need to do. It's an investment to do it. It ain't cheap.
Right.
Because most people can't do what we do in 90 minutes.
Of course not. That's exactly what you called it, the discovery call. That's just the intro to kind of get the...
So we can understand what's everything. Mm-hmm. We go back to childhood. We do a whole bunch of stuff.
But Coach, they better come out July 8th. Because you're going to be on the panel. And for those of you watching, Intimate Conversations podcast tour is in full effect. So you can come out and ask your questions and meet Coach Ken. Or you can live stream it from home, and we're going to take questions from the live audience at home too. So that's another way they'll get to see you. I'm so glad you came. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. I could do this all day.
I already know.
I could do this all day, and I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep helping people. Okay.
Absolutely. I definitely will. It's been amazing. I am your host, Sonia B, and you can find me on Instagram at Sonia_B_. And thank you for tuning in.